Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Amber Unfiltered. Today we're going to talk about this movie I watched on Netflix yesterday called Meet Me Next Christmas with DeVal Ellis and Christina Milian. But before we do that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, if you want to cash out me at Amber Unfiltered Show, that'd be greatly appreciated. So, I am terrible because I love cheesy rom-coms, especially holiday movies, which is so funny because normally I'm like anti-holidays, but I digress. So I was like, I'm just gonna give this a chance. Like, it looked like a little meet cute kind of movie, and I was like, okay, I'm about to see what this is about. I like DeVal's podcast he has with his wife, Kadeen. Dead Ass is one of my favorite podcasts. I haven't listened to it in a little bit, but they're like a husband and wife that kind of talk about very taboo subjects, and they do it with like experts, and they give you like the real deal and like nitty gritty. They are also like influencers. They're also in the entertainment industry. I think DeVal is like an actor on, is it Tyler Perry's Sisters? And I think he also does Zatima, which is like a spinoff from Sisters. He's really talented. This sounds so mean and I don't mean for it to. I don't think his acting is the best, but maybe that's just me. Again, I'm not trying to judge him. I really do respect him and like his other work. Christina Milian, also same thing. Like that's my boo. I've loved her since I was a kid. I loved when she sang like "Dip It Low." Like I love that whole era. But I don't think she's a strong actress. She has some other rom com like holiday themed movies on there that are actually better. I feel like there was one, I think it was called like Falling in Love, and she was like staying at an inn and she fell in love with like the owner or something like that. There was another one. I think it was with Jay Farrow and Cinqua Walls, who was in Power, and she was like dating this guy. I think it was Jay Farrow's character, and they broke up, and then she ended up. Oh yeah, it's called Resort to Love. I think it was called, and they end up at the same resort, and he's there with his like new fiance, but she like falls in love with his brother. Like it's a whole thing, or something, or someone related to him. I can't exactly remember, but forgive me. It's been like a couple years since I watched those. But I was like, I have nothing better to do because I was like painting my nails, and I was like, I need something to watch while they dry because I need to get one of those like UV things that help it dry quicker. I had one, but I lost the freaking cable for it. So I've always needed a new one, but it usually takes me like a good hour and some change to like, you know, get them to dry without, dinging them and messing them up or whatever. And I'm an idiot. Like they'll dry and then I like yeet with my hand and I'm just like, bro, what am I doing with my life? So anyway, I decided to give this movie a chance. So the movie starts off, it also stars Kofi Siriboe from Queen Sugar, Girls Trip. There was another movie he did. I think it was called Kicks. That was like when he first started acting. That was really, really good. Kofi, I think it depends on the movie and the director and like what character he's playing because he's not the strongest actor, but some stuff like some scenes will or episodes or shows or films will pull like a really good performance out of him. It just depends. So in this movie, Christina Milian is dating a guy. She's like trying to fly back home for the holidays, I think to New York or something. And her boyfriend have this tradition where they go to a pentatonic show. I'm not a Pentatonics fan. I know my mother-in-law, she like adores them, but I'm not familiar with their songs or their like musical journey or whatever. So she gets stranded at an airport. The flights get delayed or canceled because of bad weather. So she meets Kofi Siriboe's character, and forgive me, I don't remember his name, so I'm just gonna say the actor's name. And they kind of have like a moment where they like bond in the airport, and he knows she has a boyfriend, but he's like walking off his flight, is getting ready to be called, and he's like, hey, if it don't work out with your dude, like hit me up in a year. And he's like, we'll meet at a pentatonic show because he actually liked them too. Like she put him on to them, and they had a really good conversation. And I was just like, first of all, that's shady as fuck to be inviting someone to get to know you when you know you have a partner. And she did tell him, but I was like, even if that person was cute, or I was like, oh, maybe there is, like, I just would not do that just out of respect for Nick. Like, I never would do that. That didn't sit right with to me. And I'm like, are we low key like pushing infidelity? But I was like, all right, Netflix, you catch the side eye for me. So she's like, all right, bet. And she thinks everything is sweet. So she comes home early to surprise her boyfriend with like a little Christmas dinner, like spaghetti, like Italian takeout or whatever. And she catches him cheating, which I felt like was so predictable. I was like, they could have done so much more with that. But he was like dealing with another woman in her house on her couch, and I was like, he trifling. So she threw him out. So her friend, so oh wait, let me back up. So yeah, so she's like, how am I gonna get to the show because me and him normally go and I don't have a ticket. Well, her and her friend like are drinking. They're talking about her relationship and like where she went wrong with guys and stuff. and they're like, oh, we need to find this ticket. So that kind of starts like the premise or the conflict of the film. So she goes to this like concierge company where they can help people kind of navigate sticky situations like this, and kind of they're like they can get in where you can't normally, like a Ticketmaster or StubHub or something like that, because she's like tried all that. So she meets DeVal's character. Again, I'm sorry, I'm so bad with names. I just watched this movie yesterday and my brain is like already forgotten it. I feel like if it was more memorable, I probably would have definitely remembered, because I'm usually pretty good at remembering that stuff. So she meets DeVal's character. He's like a new concierge. His manager is like, hey, I need you to take, Christina Milian's like case or whatever. I need you to really do this. If you don't do this, like you're axed. He used to be a chef, but then he had to stop because his mom was sick, which I feel like again is another typical stereotype. Like I feel like the matriarch of the family always gets like some debilitating illness, not to negate that does happen, and I know it's a common occurrence, but I was like, I feel like it just was lazy in the script writing or the storytelling or directing or whatever. So I'm like, okay, so they like encounter these like different series of like mishaps. Like I think the first time he had like a guy that was at a kiosk, but the kiosk was closed. He like knew a guy that was like on the street that could get it for him. So then they go meet someone she found online, and then the guy like scammed them. He sells her tickets to last year's show, and then like DeVal's character gets pepper spray. Like it was so ghetto. And then like he's messaging Pentatonix's manager, and I'm like, what is the odd of Pentatonix's manager just answering a random fan? I was like, I didn't remember like what the connection was and how he was able to get a connection. So then like Pentatonix was acting, and the acting was so fucking mid. I was like, no, trash. So then they find this other connect, and they have like this fancy loft and like over the sky, like a skyscraper or whatever. And I'm just like, oh my god, it was so pretentious. It was a funny scene though. It was like this bougie, like hippy dippy, like psychedelic couple. The wife like takes Christina Milian's character and like has her try on dresses, and she gives her a dress, and then the guy's like talking to DeVal outside. Like it was so stupid. And so they're like, okay, go get me this. I think it was called a sugar plum purse. It was like a very expensive like Chanel purse, and they had to go pick it up for the guy. I think that was just him sending them on a journey to get them like together, like to make her realize that she needed. Oh, because she's going to this Pentatonic show because she wants to see Kofi Siriboe's character, because it's a year later. So all that she's chasing this like pipe dream of like, oh, my person, my person, my person. I'm like, you probably have him sitting right in front of you. And it was sweet that there were moments where DeVal's character was like remembering specific things, like she had allergies to nuts, or like her favorite song and different things like that. It was very sweet. So then he ends up that the Chanel thing turns into a disaster. She gives the purse to a family that kind of is in need. It was like a dad whose wife was like going through some medical illness, and she really wanted this thing. So she had like the Christmas spirit on her heart, and that was funny. And then they go to DeVal's mom's house, and his cousin is living with him, and his cousin says, oh, I got the tickets, I got the hookup. Well, the cousin lured them there to basically get them to compete in a lip sync drag event, if I'm saying that correctly. I don't mean to be inappropriate or misleading, but yeah, so that scene was actually hilarious because he kind of looked like Prince, and it was giving like Rick James energy. He was like, and one and two, invoke, and ah. Like it was so funny. But it was awkward. And then I got to the scene where so basically if you win the drag event, like the lip sync event, you will get 2 Pentatonix tickets. So I'm like, okay, I kind of see where this is going. That scene was so funny because he was like yelling at them like he was like their like stage manager, or like a momager kind of. It was so funny. I was like dying because he's like, ladies, like he's just like fucking yelling at them. And then I got to the scene where they go to the drag event, the lip sync event, I should say. Let me stop saying drag event. They go to the lip sync event, and they start performing. The lip sync was so dry. I just had to cut it off because it was so bad. Like I probably don't have any intention of finishing it. There was zero chemistry between Christina Milian and DeVal Ellis. I was like, they're both really beautiful people. I know they're married. I'm like, DeVal plays on a show where he's with, with another woman. It's like the Hollywoodized version, they're acting obviously. But what was I going to say? There was zero chemistry. Like Christina Milian has done rom-coms on Netflix before, and she's had chemistry. It wasn't as strong, it wasn't like blow it out the water, but her and DeVal were just, it was like, yeah, Yeah, okay. Like, it was so lacking. Like, I was like, y'all could at least pretend. And I was like, I don't know if it's because she's married now. I don't know if she wasn't feeling it. Like, I think they're probably friendly in real life, but I was just like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not buying it. It just seemed like DeVal was like, you know, the guy in high school that like keeps asking for a hug, and you finally like give him a hug, and then he like, asks you giving that vibe. And I was just like, okay. So for me, I would rate it like a 5.5. I don't even know if I would give it that high. It was just too many storylines, it was too many conflicting things. The budget was budgeting. Like, you could tell they had money to spend for this production and they were probably compensated well, or at least I hope they were. But the storyline was falling flat, and I was like, she's doing all this to get to a concert to potentially, you know, meet her soulmate. But I'm like, that guy was so bold to ask you to be, you know, to ask you to be more than friends or take those steps when he knew you had a boyfriend. I was like, to me, that just is like the ultimate disrespect. I don't freaking know. But I don't know. Even Kofi's acting like wasn't that good. He wasn't in the movie, but all for like 5 minutes. I think that later in the movie he appears. But I mean, I liked the idea was actually unique, but I was dying because I was reading reviews online and I looked at like the 2 star and 1 star reviews, and somebody was like, it looks like the script was written by Chat GPT, and I fucking died because I was like, now I can't unsee it. I was like, it literally does feel like that. Like, it's clunky. It's not an organized plot. Like, typically you know what's going to happen in these movies, but you still watch it because you want to be entertained and you also kind of want to take your mind off of something else. But it's like those cheesy, like, meet cute movies. They are adorable. Like, it is corny, but it's just like it gives you something to look forward to, but also just again, it's like fun. It's like a quick little escape. You don't have to think about social media, work, homework, you know, relationships, husbands, wives, girlfriends, all that type of stuff, kids or anything like that. But I don't know. It was one of the worst fucking movies I've ever watched. And I don't expect much going into those movies. I have some that I like love watching. Like, one of my favorites to watch around the holidays, especially when I'm wrapping gifts for Christmas, is Jump the Room. I always watch it while I'm wrapping gifts. Like, I will kick Nick out and he'll be in his office playing his games or whatever because he's a gamer. And I'll shut our bedroom and I'll just have wrapping paper and I'll put that on, and it just takes me back. Like, I don't know, it's just like one of my little things. I love that movie. It is very cheesy. Paula Patton and Laz Alonso were really good. Like, they were believable. I was like, okay, they got engaged a little bit too fast, but like the battle of the families and then like trying to integrate a tradition while making new traditions. It was like really cute. Like, I love that movie, and it has like a all-star like black cast, which I really love. But yeah, even that one's better. Like, I feel like that one's like a, I would say a 6.5 or a 7. Like, it's not the best, but it has like sentimental value to me. So I don't know. Don't let my review like or my little quick critique deter you from watching it. Give it a chance. You might like it. I think it just was too busy, and if they had toned down some of the overlapping storylines, that would have helped. I also feel like if Christina Milian and DeVal Ellis had more time to build the chemistry or make the connection more believable, that would have been fun. Like, it just like their banter was not, I don't know. It just seemed like Christina was reading off the paper. I feel like DeVal was basically playing himself. The way that he talks on the podcast and stuff was like the way that this character was. And yeah, I don't know. I wanted more from the movie and I was kind of let down. I was like, I don't know if I want to finish. And again, I don't want to bash DeVal because I think he did what he could with what he had. And I don't want to, like, you know, fuck up my chances of potentially being on the podcast because I would love to go on there. I love him and his wife. I think they're so good together. And I think they're really real about how hard marriage is and like the work it takes to sustain that and a family. Like, I love all the topics that they cover because they don't cover like the normal stuff. But give their podcast a listen. You know, support Christina Milian if you can. This is just my honest opinion. Hopefully, you guys don't take it too seriously. Love you guys and have a good day. Bye.